Hey folks, wanted to bring you through a list of gear for tromping around in the mountains in the wintertime. Most specifically suited towards skiing and snowshoeing, possibly some snowmobile like snowboarding, anything like that. So let's dig in. I've got my pack full of stuff. I've got a couple other bags to kind of show you a couple variations for length of trip and different weather considerations and different plans, activities you've got. First, I'm going to go through some stuff that I keep on person. I'm going to slide this out of the way real quick. So I'll go into clothing and everything in another video, but some stuff I'm carrying with me. If I'm dealing with the snow, I really like to have a pair of knee pads. They're pretty good, not just for banging your knees on hidden rocks and stuff, but for also keeping your knees warm. It gets pretty chilly out there, and to have something to insulate your knees when you have to kneel down in the snow will really save your knees from getting too cold and can help your day go a little bit better. I also like to have a pair of leather gloves. You can have any kind for winter. There's some great nylon gloves out there. I really like the elk skin, fleece lined. They're treatable with waxes and stuff, so they keep water and moisture out pretty well. They're windproof, and they tend to hold up really well. I've used the heck out of these for quite a few years. They're about due for some treatment, and maybe we'll put that in a future video here too. I like to carry a few other things. If I'm skiing, there's always a potential for avalanches. I've come across a few just in the course of backcountry skiing for fun, and a few in the line of work as a ski patroller. And one of the things you have to deal with is if somebody gets buried in the snow is you may have to do some CPR. So I keep a mask, and then I also keep some aspirin and things if there's a medical related heart attack issue. We've got that. A pair of sunglasses. You really need to protect your eyes. Super important when you've got all the snow out there. You can burn your cornea playing at high altitude in the snow. Kind of feels like you've got sand and sunscreen in your eyes all at the same time. Another way to do that would be some goggles. I've got a clear pair here. They're great for evening, nighttime stuff, but terrible for daytime if you have any significant sun. Let's see, I've got another pair. There's some in here. Something like this can really kind of help keep the wind and sun out of your face and make your day a little bit better. Depending on your weather, might be warmer and more conducive to sunglasses. If it's colder, goggles are the trick. Don't be caught without some goggles out there. Of course, I know guys that refuse to ever wear goggles. When I worked as a ski patroller, thought they were crazy. They walked around with like permanent frostbite on their face. So keep it in mind. Goggles are good. I also like to carry some kind of knife into the backcountry. The bigger the better, but obviously you don't want to carry a katana around. It gets a little unwieldy. But something with a good sheath that you can lash down to your bag or into a belt. I also like to tie some 550 cord to it in case I need to use it for anything. It's always good to have some cordage and a cutting tool. If I have time and space and I feel like carrying some binoculars, cheap ones are pretty decent. There's some Tasco, they're like 15 bucks. They're pretty nice to be able to see across mountain ridges. Sometimes you see some wildlife. It's cool to get a look at, or maybe you're spotting a ski run or potential avalanche terrain. So binoculars are nice to have. I've seen a lot of people carry around a small monocular too, just to save some space. Whatever you prefer. A compass, and along with the compass is the knowledge on how to use it, and then a map. And I don't know where I just put my map, but oh, here we go. Always have to have something to use your compass with. So some sort of lensatic compass. And for skiing, I like the kind that have got an inclinometer in there. I don't know if you can see up in there, but you can set it up on the slope and you can read how many degrees your slope is. And that could be handy for identifying avalanche terrain, whether or not you want to stay away from that. Also some lip balm. Wind gets pretty wicked up there, as well as the sun. Communications device for your team. You know, whatever you can afford, whatever works. Generally, when you're skiing above tree line, you're going to have pretty good communication with your party, and hopefully you're not too far apart, so even the cheap radios should work pretty well for that. And you may or may not want to carry some kind of tourniquet and trauma shears. Could be very handy first aid deal. Okay, next is the bag. You've got a couple different types of bags you can use. I like something for a day trip, somewhere around 30 liters, give or take 5 liters or so. Most of your ski bags come in liters. I know most of American stuff comes in cubic inches, but the liters is what I know. So you've got some different sorts of stuff. A couple of bags I've had good luck with. Dakine, this bag is about 15 years old, and I've used it for hundreds of days in the backcountry. I think it's the old Heli Pro. Yep, the Heli Pro. And so pretty decent backpack. I can highly recommend it. Something about weather packs or winter weather packs is that they're not quite as floofy and breathable as summer packs. You can see there's a little bit more neoprene and kind of structural stuff in here. It does help keep you a little bit warmer when you've got a nice pack on. Some features about winter packs that you want to look for if you're skiing, snowshoeing, is some sort of ski carry device. Like this pack here has got down the sides a couple of straps that you can attach your skis into the side, maybe strap them together up top. Let's see, it's also got a diagonal carry here as well. Let's see if I can remember where this thing goes. Yeah, there's a little drawstring down in here. And up inside here is a little connector to let this guy out. You can hook your skis into there, cinch it up to however large your skis are, and then you can strap the other end into here, and you've got like a nice 45-degree carry. A lot of times you want to be going uphill with your skis on if you're using some skins or cross country, but sometimes the terrain gets so steep that you're going to have to stash your skis in your pack and hoof it, kind of scramble in hands and feet. A couple other features I like of some winter packs are little insulated pockets on the side, stash granola bars and stuff in there, some trail food, easy stuff to go. And something like this pack here has got a winter hydration bladder sleeve running through the strap, which tends to insulate pretty well. Up where I live, it gets so cold and windy that it still freezes up within about an hour's time, and your 100 ounces of water in your Camelback will be pretty useless. So I tend to just carry a water bottle because of my climate. If I was in warmer climates, I do prefer some kind of hydration system like a Camelback. And let's see, so I'll get into the bag a little bit. And again, this is just a day pack size. On the outside, I've got some of these fellas. If you're hiking or going by foot, some of these yak tracks are pretty awesome. You can have some frozen over snow, icy spots. They really help with reduced slippage on the trail. They're not too heavy and they really don't take up much space. So I think they're pretty handy to have around, even if you don't use them half the time you're out there. Let's dig into the pack a little bit. Now, as you see, I've got this shovel handle on the outside here. The ski packs a lot of times have integrated snow tool pockets and pouches and sleeves. And this one has got the shovel handle on the outside. One of the most important things, I think, for winter backcountry is being prepared for some sort of avalanche. That's the first aid. I'll bring that out later. But we have our kit that we always want to have with us. There's like the holy trinity of avalanche tools is your beacon transceiver, which you're going to carry on your body close to you underneath your clothing so it doesn't get ripped off in the case of an avalanche. They basically always will transmit a frequency, and then your other teammates in your party, if you were to get swept up, would turn to search mode and they'd be able to find you. So you want that. You need a shovel to be able to not only dig shelter and have fun out there, but also to dig your friend out if they do get caught up in an avalanche. Steel shovels are highly recommended. Plastic shovels I've seen break. Even if they're avalanche shovels, the plastic ones will go. So when I have that, your second part of your Holy Trinity, or your third part, I'm sorry, is your avalanche probe. And what this is here is like a big long tent pole almost, that's made to dig down into the snow, and you probe around until you feel something squishy. You leave it in, it's probably your buddy, and then you start digging around them. We can get a little bit further into some strategic digging in the live classes that we do, but for now we'll leave it at that. And another tool I like to carry around is a snow saw, and this can help you do some snow pit tests. There's some standardized tests that snow science professionals and ski professionals use to determine relative safety of an avalanche slope. It's never safe being out skiing, and that's kind of half the fun of it sometimes. But we want to measure our chances and make sure we're doing good stuff. These can also be really handy in digging snow shelters, caves, stuff like that. So move this out of the way. All right, next up, digging into the bag a little bit. I've got a little bit of first aid stuff. I've got a SAM splint. These things are fantastic. You can mold them to however you need for an injury. Say you break an arm, you can kind of mold that up, and then you can take out your handy dandy other stuff here. Let's see, what else do we got? Oh, some mountain money. Toilet paper. Okay, we're not going to use the toilet paper for first aid, but this can be worth more than gold sometimes if you're up in the mountains. Definitely don't forget to bring this, even if you did a good job evacuating in the morning. High altitude can really mess with people's guts, and when you're going up 2,000-3,000 feet in a day, pressure on your insides isn't the same as the pressure on your outsides, and it wants to equalize. So have some TP handy. Some other stuff I'm gonna have with me here is some food. I like lots of granola bars, dried fruit, things of that nature, Cliff Bar, stuff like that. Also, jerky is fantastic. All right, another thing I'm going to have here is you can carry a tarp or a poncho. It's pretty essential. I've just got a snow camo tarp here because I'm up in snow country, and it's a little poncho. And so if the weather gets really bad, I can pull this out and wear it, or I can wrap myself up in it and make an emergency shelter if I need to, and maybe help get me through a night. Okay, along with my gloves that I'm using to hike around with, I also like some lighter weight gloves. I'm going to keep some of those around in case it warms up and you still want to keep your hands a little bit warm. And then I also carry around some heavy duty gloves in case it gets super cold or you're digging in the snow a lot and you want to make sure you're nice and warm. These are a combination of leather and Gore-Tex and wool lining. So these Black Diamond gloves, they're super spendy, but if you're spending a lot of time out in the cold, definitely worth the money. Spending money on good gloves is a investment well spent, I think. So also in warmth, I also like to keep a down coat. This is a down jacket. You can use this as a pillow if you need to, but when I'm done hiking and I get up to the top of the mountain, it's usually way colder and windier up there. And while I'm getting myself set and having my snacks before I head down the hill, I like to take out the down coat and put this thing on, and it usually stays on my way downhill too. Boom, it's a marmot. mountaineering down coat, made to pack up super small. Be happy you had that one there. So my water, oh, here's some more food. So I carry my water in my backpack upside down for a couple reasons. Well, mostly for one reason, is that the threads on the lid don't freeze close as quickly when there's water against it. If you were to keep it upright in your bag, you open it up, you drink water, the level goes down, and then you've just got moisture up around the threads, and then it'll tend to freeze. And if you have it upside down, that water will keep it from freezing a little bit longer. Not forever, but longer. And something else I like to carry is a thermos. And so depending on my mood or what my mission is, what I'm going out for, it's usually going to be filled with coffee. If not, I'm going to put some soup in there, maybe if I'm out for a long day and I know it's going to be cold. And then along with this coffee mug, this is a fully sealable thermos, and this mug comes with a screen that fits inside, and then I can make more coffee in this thing and go like cowboy coffee style. And you say, how do you make more coffee out there? Okay, well, I bring my jetboil along with me too, and the jetboil is pretty darn good at melting snow pretty darn fast. And we'll get into this in a future video too, but you got to make sure that before you run out of your water, you leave a little bit into the bottom, because if you're trying to melt snow and you just put snow into your vessel, it's going to take forever and use up all your fuel. If you fill in a couple ounces of water in the bottom and then you pack it full of snow, it'll melt a lot faster, and you'll get quite a bit more bang for your buck out of your gas. So I don't know if you've seen these things before, but they screw together real quick. This guy comes off the bottom. This guy goes up in there. Attach your gas. And even at 12,000 feet, this thing will boil a quart of water in about 2 or 3 minutes, which is pretty unbelievable. I've done it old school by fire and just like bring a tin cup with me and try to start a fire and boil some water that way. By the time you gather your stuff and start getting your tinder together, your buddy with the jetboil is already drinking coffee. So I like to kind of spend my time wisely and get some good traveling and skiing in. So this could be pretty handy. And then basically what else I do here, well, where's your coffee? So I bring a little baggie and I get my coffee, and I put some sugar and I put creamer in there, and then I dump it all into my cup and pour the boiling water, and then bang, I'm good to go. I got a nice hot drink for the rest of my trip back to the car and all. Another way you can do your coffee too is with one of these guys. And it's also, even if you're just melting and boiling your water, this guy is like a little screen, and it fits down inside the Nalgene bottles. And so you can put all your coffee stuff inside there. I got a splash guard in there right now. And then you can sit this, and you screw that in place with your coffee inside, pour your boiling water. The nice handy thing about this is that something you never think about until you're out there is that when you go to boil snow, there's lots of stuff in the snow. It's never just pure snow. There's dirt and pine needles and all kinds of stuff. And you want to kind of filter that out. And this nice tight screen is a really good way to do that. You can also use a piece of cheesecloth. I used cheesecloth for years and would just lay it over the mouth and pour into there. A handkerchief can work. But I came across this gadget and it solved a lot of my problems. So I like it. And moving along. A headlamp. Headlamps can be pretty valuable. You might not plan on being out in the dark, but I've been out on skiing trips before where I didn't plan on being in the dark, and I wound up in the dark and had to get home, and thank goodness I had the headlamp. So you can use a really fancy, snazzy, high dollar black diamond or something equivalent headlamp that's made for use in the snow and lots of wattage, or you can have a $15 headlamp that works just as great. I've had this just as long as my black diamond, and it's held up just as great. So I have no complaints with it. I also have a little survival kit here, and I've got some extra cordage, which is just some 550 cord and some shoelaces in case I need to tie something up, right? It could be used for repairing skis or tying up a tarp, whatever you want to do. I've also got a little fire kit. In it, I've got some a lighter, some waterproof matches, and some little tea light candles. You know, you see a lot of guys that really like having the cotton balls soaked in wax and all that stuff with paraffin. These things are super cheap, and you can keep them in. They'll run for a good hour or more sometimes. They can help you get your kindling going and everything if you need to start a fire, or if you dig an emergency snow cave. A couple of these inside a snow cave, if you build the cave right, you can be chilling at about 50 degrees inside when it's like 0 degrees outside. So some candles are the way to go. I also have some foil. You never know what you're going to need some foil for. Might be a good wind block for starting a fire, whatever you can come up with. I like multi-purpose things to be able to solve problems with, because you never know what you're going to get. Here's my my little first aid kit for day trips. It's just basically got a cravat in here, which is basically a big triangle bandage, which you can use for slinging and stabilizing wounds. They go great with one of these guys if you've got, you know, this up over an injury, and you know, say we're up in there, and you've got this guy, you're going to have somebody else hopefully there to help you. You never want to go in the backcountry alone, but one of these triangle bandages makes a good sling. If you've seen these before, but there we go, triangle bandage. And we can go into how to use this in a future video. We'll get a little bit deeper on that. Also, some rubber gloves and some gauze, a couple band-aids, some more matches I've gotten there, some disinfectant wipes, just a few things for smaller trips. And let's see. Also in my day bag, I keep an emergency bivouac sack. And so some of them you can get real tiny, little like Pop-Tart wrapper sort of stuff. They're pretty handy. They take up less space. They're pretty good in a pinch. This one's a little bit more of a dedicated bivouac sack. It's waterproof and can add an extra 10 or 15 degrees that if you have to hole up and dig a little hole in the snow until you can wait out weather and get out tomorrow, whatever it is, you wait for your help, whatever your case may be, this guy can be great. And just climb yourself up inside, and it's pretty much a glorified sleeping bag cover, kind of like a mini tent, and you get up in there and get pretty warm, maybe keep yourself alive. And that in combination with your tarp over top, you dig yourself down into the snow a little bit, cut the wind down, and you'll be good to go. Alright, that's my small bag. If I'm going for an overnight or a couple nights out, or I'm planning a longer trip where I may or may not be staying out, I've got a bigger bag, somewhere around 50 liters. This thing can fill up pretty far. This is also a winter-specific pack. It's got a sleeve for your hydration system in here to keep that insulated. That runs inside to your bladder holder in there. And then on this side, this is an Avalon pack from Black Diamond. And this is one of these deals where if you're skiing or walking through avalanche terrain, you put this sucker in your mouth and you've got a conduit of fresh air that comes out the side of the pack over here. One of the things that will kill you in an avalanche is the heat from your breath will form an ice mask around your face, which will prevent oxygen from going through the snowpack. So this can help reduce the heat and the ice mask from your face and let you breathe through your pack, which will be a bit warmer air and will dissipate that heat and hopefully give you an extra few minutes, if not an hour or two, of air supply before you can get dug up, and it'd be pretty terrifying sitting under the snow for an hour waiting for somebody to dig you up. But it's pretty handy to have. There's also some great backpacks with airbags in them, where if you pull a ripcord, if you get caught in an avalanche, and you get a big airbag and helps you float up to the top, protects your head. This particular pack here has also got a snow tool pocket in the front, pretty quick access, and you can get right in, and it's got your different slots for organization of the snow saw and the beacon, or the shovel handle, and your probe and everything there. It's also got some stuff that you can hook ice axes in there. You can do diagonal ski carry, you can do vertical ski carry. So something with a lot of features is pretty nice, but you know, you don't want to get too crazy, because the more you add, the more weight you add. So let's get into a couple things I have in here. What's up in here? Something in the lid. Oh, life straw. If you can find some running water in a creek or something like that, you can drink some water straight through this sucker. It's a nice little water purification device. May or may not carry a hammock. You can tie up between some trees. Well, it'll get pretty drafty. I'd rather dig a snow cave or a tunnel of some sort to spend the night. It's quite a bit warmer. If I'm out for a bit, I also like to bring some sort of towel. This is like a quick dry synthetic towel. You might need to dry yourself off because you're probably going to get wet at some point. If nothing else, you'll soak yourself through your clothes. Got some Codan, like first aid wrap here. My first aid kit gets a little bit bigger. I also carry something like this. More first aid in here is all. I'm thinking at this point, you know, I'm going out with a few more people probably, and I need to have some more supplies. So I've got an extra tourniquet. I've got some trauma dressings, heat packs. These are huge. These can save you in a cold emergency. Crack a few of these heat packs open and warm yourself up really quick. So I'm not going to get too much further into that bag, but for longer trips, I've got a bigger tank for the jetboil. The smaller cans that fit inside the jetboil are good for like maybe a weekend. These guys will be good for quite a bit longer. You can do a lot of cooking with these. And I've got another saw. This is more for cutting wood than snow, and that can come in handy for your fires. I also carry, let's see, what I'm going to pull next here. Sleeping bag. Got a down sleeping bag. Down packs up really small, keeps you really warm. You've got to make sure that you've got it treated for moisture though, because once down gets wet, it gets pretty useless. So keep it dry, or get synthetic, but it's going to take up probably twice as much space. I also carry a sleeping pad. You know, you can carry one of the cheapy foam pads. They take up a humongous amount of space. I've got one of these Thermarest, and this was a pretty penny too, but this is one of the best amounts of money I've spent in camping gear. And these suckers blow up here, and it's loud as hell. It sounds like you're laying on a bag of potato chips, but it really keeps you warm, and it stays inflated in very cold temperatures. So really worth the investment. And anything else in here? What else do we got? Oh, I've got another probe. This is a longer probe than my other one, and it extends quite long. I think the other one was about 2.5 meters. This is a 3-meter probe. So, you know, longer trips, I'm just carrying a little bit more burly gear. Velcro strap, use whatever for. And that looks like about it. Oh, I've also got blade with a saw on the back end. The saw could come in handy. You might need to chop some stuff, whatever it is. And I think that's it on the bags. So I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to go through clothing and stuff next. We're going to hit a few other topics. So stay tuned. We'll see you next time.